Ladies and gentlemen, we will be starting in about 5 minutes, so if everybody could please find their seats quickly, then we will get going here. Thank you very much.
You can be the greatest, you can be the best. You can be King Kong banging on your chest. You can beat the world, you can beat the war. You can talk to God, go banging on his door. You can throw your hands up, you can beat the clock. You can move a mountain, you can break rocks. You can be a master, don't wait for luck. Dedicate yourself and you'll find yourself standing in the Hall of Fame. And the world's gonna know your name, 'cause you burn with the brightest flame. And the world's gonna know your name, and you'll be on the walls of the Hall of Fame.
Everybody has these dreams and aspirations of doing these fantastic things, and the Hall of Fame holds all those.
Helps keep motorcycling alive and makes names and heroes out of the people that have dedicated their lives to making this sport go.
Everybody in the Hall of Fame's contributed something to the better of motorcycling.
We forget all these types of racing there was and how the motorcycles have progressed. We just think it's like it is now with wonderful motorcycles that have electric starters and don't weigh anything and have 6 gears and never break down.
I think the Motorcycle Hall of Fame is important to have a place to go to learn about the history of the sport and to find inspiration.
But that history is so important to our sport. We have so many people that we need to be thankful for, and it's important for the generations to come to know the sacrifices that these guys made.
I'd like to think that in 40 years' time, somebody looked up my name and said, oh, I remember, reading about that guy.
The people that I've met, the places I've been able to go, the John Pentons, the Malcolm Smiths, that's what really makes the motorcycle business, the sport, the industry interesting.
I think it's a good way of letting the future know that we existed and what we did.
I think it's important to know why our sport got to where it is, and you don't forget.
Hall of Fame keeps that history alive.
So I hope they keep growing this Hall of Fame and make it better and better as time goes on.
of the Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the reporter for Formula Drift, World Supercross, and Formula One, an avid rider herself, Lorette Nickel.
Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2025 AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame induction ceremony. So this year, we want to do something special to kick off the evening. We are, of course, an organization that celebrates excellence in American motorcycling. AMA members and Hall of Famers may come from all over the world, but our focus has always been on American racing, riding, and of course, the AMA's battle for the rights of American motorcyclists to enjoy the sport we all love. So, to honor America and our freedoms, please welcome to the stage rock guitarist of both Warrant and Quiet Riot fame, Billy Morris. And ladies and gentlemen, if you will please rise for the playing of the national anthem. goodness. Now, is that a way to start the show or what, Billy? Amazing. Y'all can have a seat. Thank you so much. I'm about to. Okay. Yeah. This beautiful glassy black guitar, which Billy just played, which was also played at the AMA Vintage Motorcycle Days earlier this year, is signed by not only AMA Hall of Famers Brock Glover, Brad Lackey, Scott Harden, as well as previous vintage grand champion Lightning Wepler, and racer and Red Bull athlete Carson Brown. This is going to be auctioned off later tonight. So all proceeds go to benefit the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame, and you can check the back of your program for more information on the guitar and other auction items, which you can bid on at the cocktail reception immediately following this ceremony. Billy, amazing. Thank you so very much. Yeah, absolutely. Tonight, we are so pleased to welcome 6 new inductees to the Hall of Fame. Each of them has made a lasting contribution to the sport, business, and lifestyle of motorcycling in America. Joining me as my co-host for this unforgettable ceremony is one of my favorite fellow motorcyclists, a star of stage and screen, a former AMA and Hall of Fame board member and longtime supporter, Mr. Perry King.
Thank you, Lorette. Good evening, everybody. So good to see you. Gatherings like this remind us of our humble beginnings and give us the opportunity to honor those among us who have impacted motorcycling in significant ways. Now, I think I can promise you tonight a night of fun, laughter, and even a few tears, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Tonight's ceremony is also being broadcasted live on Facebook and on the Hall of Fame's YouTube channel. So be sure to follow the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame on social media and share your favorite moments using the hashtag AMAHOF2025.
And several leading companies have generously provided support for tonight's show. So let's recognize them right now.
Thank you to our ring sponsor. Thank you, Honda.
And we'd also like to thank Yamaha for sponsoring our Hall of Fame display and exhibit.
Thank you to our row sponsors, MX Sports and Feld, as well as our supporting sponsors, Keyway America, Phoenix Handlebars, and Guts Racing.
We'd also like to thank our gold jacket sponsor, the Brock Glover family, and we appreciate the contributions of Rob Vidos. Thank you so much for all your support tonight.
Yeah. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce the people who are directly responsible for the success of the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame, your AMA Board of Directors and the directors of the American Motorcycle Heritage Foundation. Could you all please stand? Wow. Hey.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Surprising.
Oh, I see what happened. Oh, you guys are funny. I see what happened. That was hilarious.
What was that?
Well, everyone rose. Everyone rose because I asked everyone to stand, but our board members. That was funny.
Yeah, we thought it's a bigger board than we remembered.
Thank you for listening. We really appreciate it.
We also want to introduce Rob Dingman, President and CEO of the American Motorcyclist Association. Rob, will you please stand up?
There we go. Thank you, Rob.
We'll get to you in just a minute, Rob.
Yeah. So you have probably noticed that seated among us are some of motorcycling's greatest. Please join me in welcoming the heroes who have made the sport, business, and lifestyle of motorcycling what it is today.
Would the current members of the Hall of Fame please stand?
At this time, we'd like to introduce AMA Motorcycle Hall of Famer Brock Glover.
Brock, it is always an honor to have you at the AMA Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and many people may not know that you have been very instrumental in the presentation of the golden jackets for our Hall of Famers.
Well, thank you, Harry and Lorette. It really, the Hall of Fame, the Golden Jacket concept, I have to be remiss if I didn't mention Rob Bidos, who was mentioned earlier. It was just really brought on from attending an event, and we sat amongst the tables, and when they asked everybody that was currently in the Hall of Fame to please stand up and be recognized, there were people actually sitting at our table that Rob and I didn't recognize. And we didn't realize, it's like, this is crazy. They're in the Hall of Fame. I know their names. I just didn't know them by face because obviously in motorcycling, sometimes you're wearing a helmet or you're not really exposed to where you could recognize them by sight. And it was just a situation where we thought it would make so much more sense if we had jackets. And that was many years of kind of just talking about it, and it never really came to fruition. And then Rob and I was like, we got to get this done. And so that was what got the gears turning, discussed with some of the board members of the AMA what would keep us from doing that. And to be honest with you, it was just a little bit of effort and some funding and a little bit of research. And so my family committed to paying and funding the jackets for the current hall members each year. And it's really, it's our honor to do so. And I think as we get more and more members showing up and wearing these jackets and being photographed and taking their collection and really the proper place in the Hall of Fame, I think that's we're looking forward to getting more and more of them out there. So thank you.
Brock, thank you so much. And thank you to all of our Hall of Famers who are here in attendance tonight. Yeah, let's give everyone a round of applause. And Perry, it is so great to be back on stage with you again. And I think you've been emceeing this for about 16 years now.
Is it? Really?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't keep track, but boy, time just zooms past, doesn't it? You all know that feeling. I just want to say one thing I know for sure. Every year I enjoy this more, and I'm very grateful to everybody at the AMA for inviting me back like this every year. Thank you. I love it. My favorite night of the year.
Yeah, we love you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Every ceremony is special, and tonight's no exception. We will gather to honor each of these inductees for the role in shaping of the legacy of motorcycling.
And to get our evening started tonight, I'd like to introduce and welcome to the stage the president and CEO of the American Motorcyclist Association, Rob Dingman. Hi, Rob. Podium's all yours.
Hey, Rob. Thanks.
Good evening. Good evening and welcome to the 2025 AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame induction ceremony. It's a pleasure to see so many friends and supporters of motorcycling gathered here in Pickerington, Ohio, home of both the American Motorcyclist Association and the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame. Tonight, we celebrate the legends who have shaped motorcycling in America, the pioneers, champions, innovators, and visionaries whose impact will be remembered for generations. Each year, this ceremony allows us to reflect on the passion, courage, and dedication that define our motorcycling community. But this evening is about more than honoring great individuals. It's about uniting around our shared mission to safeguard the heritage of motorcycling for the future. The AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame, guided by the American Motorcycle Heritage Foundation, ensures that the stories and spirit of motorcycling remain alive for all who ride today and those yet to ride tomorrow. The American Motorcycle Heritage Foundation is a charitable organization that relies on the generosity of donors and the steadfast support of AMA members. While the AMA continues to underwrite much of the Hall of Fame's work, its long-term success depends on those who believe, as we do, that motorcycling's legacy is worth preserving. To our members, donors, and everyone here tonight, thank you. Your commitment keeps this institution strong and ensures that the contributions of motorcycling's heroes will never be forgotten. Last year marked an extraordinary milestone, the AMA's 100th anniversary. A century of advocacy, community, and service to riders. As we've started our second century, we look ahead with renewed efforts to protect riders' rights, grow participation, and strengthen institutions like the Hall of Fame that connect our past to our future. As you share that passion, I encourage you to invite others to support the Hall of Fame. Every contribution, large or small, makes a lasting impact. To everyone here tonight and to those watching online, thank you for your continued support of the AMA Hall of Fame. And to the distinguished members of the Hall of Fame class of 2025, congratulations on this tremendous and well-deserved honor. You represent the very best of motorcycling. Enjoy the evening, and thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thanks,
Rob.
Rob. Thank you, Rob, so much for that. What an honor it is to be part of this special evening as we celebrate 6 new inductees.
Yeah, really amazing. But before we go on and introduce our inductees, Perry, let's take a minute to review just how the Hall of Fame inductees are selected.
Very good idea. First, nominations to the Hall of Fame originate from 8 categories, including ambassadors in industry, design and engineering, leadership and rights, and competition in flat track, off-road, AMA Supercross and Motocross, road racing, and specialty competition. Experts in the motorcycling community serve on one of 8 category committees. Among them are historians, journalists, industry leaders, and current Hall of Fame inductees. Now, they review submissions and they recommend candidates for nomination. The nominating committee then reviews the recommendations and selects the nominees for the ballot.
So who gets to vote on the nominees?
Well, the answer to that is the Hall of Fame members, the members of the category committees and their advisors, the AMA and AMHF board members, and AMA Life members.
Wow. So as you can see, the result is a well thought out and transparent process that involves many people. Some of them are here with us tonight, so let's give them a round of applause for their time and energy. Sadly, a number of Hall of Fame members have passed away since we last gathered in 2024. So let's take a moment to remember them now.
Legendary motorcyclist, on any Sunday star, ISDT gold medalist, dealership owner, and philanthropist, Malcolm Smith.
Long distance motorcyclist, Guinness World Record holder, and author Dave Barr.
Motorcycling pioneer for women riders, motocross and road racing competitor, and advocate Mary McGee.
Motorcyclist rights leader and former Motorcycle Riders Foundation president and chairman Mark Buckner.
Former Harley-Davidson CEO Richard Tierlink.
Racer, tuner, and co-founder of K&N Motorcycles, Norm McDonald.
Enduro racer, innovator, and founder of Penton Motorcycles, John Penton.
Let's pause for a moment in honor of these legendary motorcyclists who have passed. While we will miss these remarkable Hall of Famers, their accomplishments will live on forever.
I knew the tears would be coming tonight. It won't be the end of them either, I don't think. You're so right, Lorette. We're reminded of the determination, the dedication that lands a select few men and women at the top of their class. Now, each has found the strength, the courage, the sheer grit and fortitude to face down any obstacle, whether in competition, industry, the halls of government, or in the court of public opinion.
And tonight, the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame celebrates 6 new inductees. Each has achieved excellence in his or her discipline or field, and all have I'm going to try that one again. All have inspired us to do the same. In addition to the Hall of Fame rings, each inductee will also be presented with a very special Hall of Famer gold jacket. So now, It is with great pleasure that we introduce the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame class of 2025.
With a record-breaking 6 consecutive AMA NATC championships from 1988 to 1993, Ryan Young left an indelible stamp on the trials world.
Ryan won the top class for the first time at age 21, and his success earned him a spot on 8 consecutive USA Trial de Nations teams.
Beyond competition, Young impacted the sport through his company Ryan Young Products, and by utilizing his knowledge to educate those learning the sport.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ryan Young.
Presenting the Hall of Fame ring to Ryan tonight is Hall of Famer Larry Coleman.
Gentlemen, move up right there.
Ryan?
They want us up a little further. It's already on there.
So everyone can see you.
Am I on? Oh, I am. In recognition of winning 6 consecutive AMA NATC championships and earning a spot on 8 consecutive USA Trials de Nations teams, plus the ongoing schooling and training that you're doing through your school to bring more and more riders into our sport of trials and into the sport of motorcycling, it is my deep honor to induct you into the AMA Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much, Larry.
Can you hold that for 1 sec? Can you take that?
Sure,
Take-
I'll hold it for you if you want.
It's just a little shuff. You hold this for just a second, because, yeah.
Let me hold your other mic too.
Oh, okay. Now let's give him that. Let's open this. Let's open that. Wow.
Very nice.
Oh, wait. Here, hold on.
I don't want to.
It's okay. We won't drop it.
There we go.
Okay, there we go.
Nice little display box there. You take it with
I got it, yeah.
Yeah,
You take him out of the box.
I think in just a minute. Yep.
I'm gonna go and put that ring on.
Yeah.
You can take that back to the speaker. Thank you very much.
Good, Larry. Thanks. Here you go. You don't need all of it.
Wow. I'm starting it out, huh? Like you said, tears might be flying, so let's see how we do here. It's an honor to be up here. Standing here tonight as an inductee into the American Motorcyclist Association is something I'll never forget. To be recognized by an organization that represents the heart and soul of motorcycling in America, the riders, the racers, the dreamers, and the doers is truly an honor. When I first threw a leg over a bike, I didn't imagine it would lead me here. Back then at the age of 8, it was just riding with my dad, competing in a few local events. But over the last 50 years, I realized it was about so much more. It was about state championships, first time in history, father and son national champions, 8 years on the Trial de Nations team, competing in over a dozen countries, wrapping up a record-breaking 6 straight national pro championships, and retiring from competition with a record-breaking 50 pro national victories. Thank you. After that, started a company importing trials products that would last 25 years. With 14 straight years of competing all around the US and Europe, I found out it was about community of riders, about the people who share that same spark, that same respect for the sport of observed trials and what the sport trials stands for. A family-friendly sport competing against the terrain more than competing against the other rider. It's not a race. It's about the machine and keeping your feet up on some of the most rugged terrain the land has to offer wherever you're at. It isn't a race. I wouldn't be standing here without the people who believed in me along the way. My dad, Jerry Young, the first AMA National Observed Trials champion in 1972. He couldn't make it tonight. Thank you. He came down with the flu, so he couldn't make it. It's a real bummer. But I do have a ton of family here. My daughter, my son, my wife, brothers, sisters. We'll probably get to that later in the speech. But back to Dad. He drove us all around the nation. His passion for putting up with the long rides, the late nights in the basement, and the endless hours working on bikes to make them ready for competition. Your support has meant everything to my career. To my mom. This could be where the tears come. For always allowing me to chase my dreams and never doubting I can be the best. All my siblings, who I mentioned earlier, a few of which are here tonight, and my children, for allowing me to be selfish and continue chasing my dreams well into my 50s. The wife. That could be the tears. My wife for always giving me the wisdom to make the right decision every step of the way and putting up with all the late nights working at the business and all the travel, all the nationals, teaching riders all around the country. You give me the best support any husband could ever dream of. Well, I made it. Pretty impressive. To my friends and family, who many I've seen here tonight, thank you for every mile we've shared, every breakdown we fixed on the side of the road, every laugh and story around the campfire. You've been more than riding buddies. You've been my family. To all the motorcycle sponsors, from the very first one, Fantic Motors. Some of these names you guys probably never heard of. Trials is a small, unique sport, very small, unique bikes made in small factories in Europe. Fantic was one of them. Well, they're back in production again. Chuck West was the importer back then. Beta, who's pretty big now, but back then it was Cosmopolitan Motors, Larry Wise, who imported Beta. Aprilia was imported by Woody Dame in Florida. And last but not least, Gas, who is back again, well, hopefully hanging in there. They were imported by Dale Malasek, who recently has passed away, like the video with other riders, to be with the Lord above. To one of my mentors, Brad Baumert, who taught me how to be a businessman and who helped build the largest trials importing business the U.S. has ever seen and helped build up the largest concession of new national champions the sport has ever seen. Sponsorship, training, mentoring as well, with respect, responsibility, and heart. Thank you for setting the example, Brad. And to the American Motorcyclist Association, thank you for protecting the rights of riders, for promoting safety and sportsmanship, and for keeping the spirit of motorcycling alive for generations to come. Being inducted into the AMA isn't just a recognition, it's a reminder of the responsibility we all have to keep this culture thriving, to support new riders, and to make sure the next generation feels the same freedom I have felt for the last 50 years throwing my leg over a motorcycle. So tonight, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been part of my journey on and off the road. You know who you are. This honor belongs to all of you. Thank you. Ride safe, ride proud, and keep your feet up.
Hi. Now,
Ryan, thank you so much. What a beautiful speech that was.
Thank you. I made it.
Yeah, you did. You know, a lot of people might not know this, but you actually beat your dad at the Pennsylvania State Championship when you were 16, right?
That's right.
Yeah, and then you and your father became the first ever father-son combination to win championships in the same season a year later. How meaningful has it been to have your father by your side throughout your career?
It's been everything, obviously. It started at a young age of 8, and we, like I said, worked in the bikes in the basement, traveled all around the country. But that first father-son national championship in '84, nobody will ever forget that. There's only 5 classes back then, and father and son from Pennsylvania took 2 of the 5 classes. It's amazing.
Yeah, incredible. And your dad's bike is in the museum too, right?
Yeah, he has a display on the bottom floor, and I haven't seen it yet, but I should have a display on the top floor.
Absolutely. Ryan, you've had such an extraordinary racing career. Congratulations again on your induction. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Young.
Congratulations, man.
Congrats.
I just keep thinking, boy, his father must have Loved having Ryan as his son. What a joy, huh?
Yeah.
A decade after joining the motorcycling community, Dana Bell worked her way to being a nationally ranked enduro competitor.
From 1992 to 1999, Bell shifted her focus to rights issues and worked as the Western States representative for the AMA's Government Relations Department. She also worked as a state partner for the National Off-Highway Vehicle Conservation Council.
For her role as a key voice for motorcyclists' rights, the AMA Board of Directors presented Bell with the AMA Motorcycling Advocate Award, an honor recognizing those who have led the fight for the rights of motorcyclists. And Bell was just the third person to ever receive that award.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dana Bell. Thank you.
Presenting the Hall of Fame ring to Dana tonight are Hall of Famers Mona Enos and Rob Razor.
Dana, in recognition of your time spent as an enduro competitor, your years working for the AMA's Government Relations Department,
That's your line, Rob.
yeah, as well as your work for the National Off-Highway Vehicle Conservation Council, and go ahead, cut it up.
Thanks, Mona. Dana's story, as I remember it, when she met her husband, Sam was an ocean sailing racer. The only problem with that relationship was Dana gets seasick. So they had to find something else they could do together to maintain that marital bliss that they enjoy. So it was dirt bikes. It would be an understatement to say that Dana's just a dirt biker. Her accomplishments in off-road competitions can't really be understated. Dana was a nationally ranked enduro rider. She was a two-time women's division winner of the Barstow to Vegas dual sport event. Those of you all that are familiar with the Barstow to Vegas know that that's no picnic. She was also the District 37 Enduro Championship winner and active trail rider with her husband Sam, her 4 kids in the California desert. In late 80s and 90s, it was a difficult time for riders in California. The desert planning process was underway. The National Forest Service, the Bureau of Land Management, Park Service were all undergoing environmental assessments, requiring extensive planning, environmental impact statements, and things of this nature. And it made it pretty difficult for riders because it began to limit the areas available to them to ride. It was about this time that I met Dana. She called me up one day as a volunteer from the District 37, never having met me, and I certainly had never met her, and the conversation went something like this. What are you doing for the California desert? And having been involved in the California desert planning process for about 5 years at that point, I was a little bit terse, shall we say. And my response was something like, well, what are you doing? And it was from that point forward, sort of a rough beginning, we developed a great working relationship, and which I've enjoyed for several years. I'm using crib notes if you haven't noticed. The planning process was ongoing in AMA, and our riders, our members in our AMA clubs in District 37 needed representation in these processes. And it was about that time that we hired Dana as our Western States representative. She worked with the Bureau of Land Management in the California desert process. She worked with the National Forest Service. She worked with street riders, although that wasn't her forte. She was principally a dirt girl. National parks, she did a number of things, and I need my notes for this because there's a lot of them. She was a member of the California Desert Advisory Council. She was appointed a member of the California Roundtable of Recreation, Parks, and Tourism. She was appointed to the executive member of the American Trails And in 2002, Dana was one of 8 team members of the American Frontiers on Public Lands journey to engage in a 60-day, 3,000-mile journey from border to border to focus awareness on public lands. I was extremely proud to have Dana as a member of our government relations team and AMA staff. And for her many accomplishments, we couldn't all be more proud. So we thank you for that, Dana. And it is our honor to induct you into the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Incredible. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Dana, you want to come to the podium with me? Podium's all yours.
Well, I can stand here right now and say, for me, in my last 77 years, there has never been anything more exciting. I can close my eyes, and there's nothing more exciting than throwing your leg over a dirt bike, pulling in that clutch, kicking over that engine, and turning the throttle. Just hitting that trail. Didn't matter whether it was a riding trail or it was a enduro or a hare and hound. It was excitement. But I also have to say that I feel a little guilty standing up here tonight because everything I accomplished was because of an amazing number of people that I was fortunate enough to work with. And everything I accomplished was made possible because of their teaching me and encouraging me and helping me do what I did. I didn't come from a motorcycle family, even a motorcycle supportive family. In fact, the best my mother ever came to acknowledging what I did was to say, well, you're going out for the desert this weekend? So, actually falling in love with motorcycling, I have to give it all to my husband, Sam. In college, he found me my first bike. It was a little 50 step-through Honda scooter, and it got me to and from college. But it wasn't until, about 5 years later that I was really introduced to motorcycling. And Sam had concocted this contest between himself, a lifelong sailor, and a work colleague, British gentleman, who was a lifelong motorcyclist. And the first weekend they went out sailing, Bill in a life jacket because he couldn't even swim. And then the second weekend, we went up to a local national forest, and Bill had built a little race course for them to race on. And while they were out racing, I was just sitting around in camp. And Bill's son, about 10 years old, asked if I'd like to putt around in his motorcycle, his little 125 Hodaka. And I said, well, you'll have to show me how. But I putted around on it, and that was all it took. 2 weeks later, Sam and I had matching MR 175 Honda trail bikes in green tanks. And that's when all the fun really, really started. So thank you, Sam, for all the fun, but the numerous bikes you bought me, the handlebars he straightened, the levers that he replaced, the flat tires he fixed, and it just goes on and on. I was pretty rough on my bikes, and Sam always put them back together, and he was always by my side with encouragement and support. Thank you, Sammy. Getting involved with the volunteer and the political aspects of the motorcycle world, I owe that all to Rob Racer. In 1982, while my husband and I, we become pretty accomplished motorcycle riders, trail riders, and enduro riders. But AMA District 37 had brought back the Barstow to Vegas Hare and Hound, and we wanted to race that race. So I called the district and I said, is there anything I can do to guarantee us a place on that line? And they said, well, sure, you can get the contingency prizes and put together the program. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, but it got done. Sam and I raced it. We had a great time. And it was just shortly after that that the incoming president of AMA District 37 called me and he says, well, Dana, would you like to get more involved with the district? And I said, yeah, I'd really like to do that. And he says, well, we have two positions open. One is handling the books for the district, and one is legislative officer. Well, I can't even balance my checkbook. So I said, sure, I'll be the legislative officer. And I said, but what am I supposed to do? And they said, well, just call Rob Racer. So I called Rob, introduced myself, and then I did just go off asking him why wasn't AMA doing more for the district because of all of our problems we were having in keeping trails open and the problems with the desert tortoise. And Rob very firmly, but very nicely told me that AMA would support us. AMA was supporting us, but the district had to do its job too. And from then on, Rob taught me what we had to do and how to do it and supported all of our efforts. In 1992, Rob furthered my education by hiring me as the Western States representative, and that was a new position, and it allowed me to work throughout the Western States and meet more of our land managers and all of our clubs and the people that we needed to work with. At that time, too, I'd also started with Rob's OK, as in a volunteer position with the National Off-Highway Vehicle Conservation Council, which was a new organization trying to bring all of the country's OHV communities together. And I was working with that, and I knew where my heart was going. I wanted to focus on the dirt. And very shortly after that, I received a call from Russ Enos. And Russ says, well, you're working part-time for AMA. Would you like to work part-time for NOHVCC? And I told Russ, I said, well, first of all, AMA, it may be a part-time job, but it's not a part-time job. And I know what you're asking me to do, and it's not a part-time job. But I made my decision, and I did retire off of AMA. I left AMA as an employee, but I did not leave AMA as a rider. And I walked away with a great deal of knowledge of how to get things better done because of Rob. And Rob, thank you. You taught me more than I could have ever learned in a college. With Novak, I joined an incredible community of enthusiasts, dedicated people to keeping motorcycling and all types of off-highway recreation alive. And along with them was an amazing number of land management advisors. And four of the programs that I'm most proud of that I think have been very effective in protecting our sport was one called the Adventure Trail. And it was aimed at the little kids and the young children just coming in and just becoming our new riders. And we had an interactive CD and a coloring book, and it's a program still alive today. Two of the other programs were our club and state workshop program And we would travel all over the United States, and we would take clubs from any state of organization and work with them through electing a board of directors, getting incorporated, having their bylaws. And it was just a remarkable program. And we had just a huge amount of support for this through the Motorcycle Industry Council. And I think it's probably one of the best programs out there and that's going to help to further our sport. We also had the state association workshops, very much the same way, where we would go into a state, we would work with all of the OHV enthusiasts, pull them together, and help them form their own state association. We worked in Hawaii, we worked in Alaska, Vermont. There were 16 states all together during the time I was working for Novak that we were able to work with these states. And then finally, Novak produced, created, and published the first ever OHV Park Guidelines book. And it's still out there, and it's been gone through several publishings. So, Russ, where are you, Russ? Thank you for your guidance and your patience, because he did have to deal with me. All in all, I'd say it's been a great ride. And again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Sam and Rob and Russ, because you gave me my career and you gave me a passion. I had a heck of a lot of fun, and it gave me the opportunities to give back to the motorcycling world. So thank you very, very much.
Dana, will you come out here?
Thank you so much, Dana, for that wonderful story and speech.
Yeah, and Dana, you've done so much to fight for the rights of motorcyclists. What was the moment that sparked a lifelong career in advocacy?
I can't say it was a moment, but it was a time when my kids were growing up and we were going to the desert almost every weekend to race or ride. And my kids missed a lot of birthday parties and sleepovers because they got dragged out to the desert. But we'd gather the RVs around, and we had all of these wonderful friends we'd spend the weekend with, and the kids would go out and gather firewood, and we'd have a big fire in the evening. And I just thought to myself, I want my children and my grandchildren to have these opportunities. And it made everything worthwhile.
Amazing. Incredible.
Thank you. Dana, thank you so much for sharing all that with us. And congratulations on your induction.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dana Bell. Congratulations. So happy for you.
Oh, I gotta lose this. Thank you.
Joe Kopp reached the pinnacle of professional flat track competition by winning the 2000 AMA Grand National Championship. He also dominated the AMA Super Tracker National Championship, taking home the 1999 and 2000 titles.
His impressive record in AMA Grand National events includes 21 career wins, placing him 17th among the all-time greats, and 81 career Grand National podium finishes, 9th all-time.
Incredible. Kopp is also one of 20 riders to complete the prestigious Dirt Track Grand Slam, winning at least one race in each of the 4 dirt track disciplines of short track, TT, half mile, and mile. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Joe Kopp.
Presenting the Hall of Fame ring to Joe tonight is Hall of Famer Bill Werner.
Joe Kopp, one tough competitor. In recognition of your winning the 2000 Grand National Championship, in addition to the Super Tracker National titles and your Dirt Track Grand Slam, it is my great honor to induct you in the AMA Hall of Fame.
Here you go.
Give that to Perry. That arm. There we go.
Thank you, Bill.
Hey!
Oh. Can I take some stuff out of your hands?
Wow, what an honor. I want to take this night to kind of explain my journey and thank the people that, got me this gold jacket. I mean, it's been a journey, and it's not on my own, that's for sure. It's been a lot of people, a lot of hard hours behind it. And I was very blessed to be raised up in the Pacific Northwest, up in Micah, Washington. Mom, dad, aunt, and uncle. My dad and uncle were both very serious racers in their days. I don't remember a whole lot of their races, but remember being drugged to races and bike rides and whatever on two wheels nonstop when I was young. So yeah, we probably, like Dana was saying, we probably missed a lot of birthdays and stuff, but my buddies missed a lot of races too, and wouldn't have traded it for nothing. At the same time, my aunt and uncle had a couple boys, and we lived right by each other, Lonnie and Rob, my cousins. I mean, we were very fortunate to have trails out our back door, and our dads and moms supplied us with motorcycles. Luckily, once we got older, I mean, nowadays, it seems like some people are afraid to let their kids maybe explore the wild side of life or the dangerous side, they think. But I was very thankful that mom and dad gave me a bike, and my cousins had bikes, and every day after school, if we weren't in a sport, man, we were riding trails up in the hills, and we didn't have cell phones back then, so hopefully we made it back by dark, and if not, they knew we were going to get there one way or another. We usually rode together, so we'd figure out how to get home. But at the time, it didn't know, but I was learning a lot of life skills, riding skills that were gonna, further in my life, make my career. I didn't have the goal as a kid to be a champion racer or anything. I just liked to ride a motorcycle, just like my cousins did, and us pushing each other and just doing it day after day. Next thing I know, we're getting a little older, in teenage and high school and stuff, teenagers, and we're racing local hare scrambles. Our dads were a little bit before this, they were doing motocross, flat track, hare scrambles, hill climb, you name it. They were pretty much the top guys in the Northwest in whatever discipline they went to on that weekend. And they taught us to kind of do the same, do everything and anything on two wheels pretty much, And so we started racing hare scrambles, woods races, same time coming home and riding for every day in between. And we didn't go there to become, the next Larry Rossler or anybody. We went there to just ride our dirt bike at these races, and got a little bit older down the road. I'd say late, like right about high school graduation time. And I was doing a little bit of flat track, little bikes here and there, some big bikes. My dad had me on a KX 500 trail bike, which was a hell of a trail bike, but for a 105, 110 pound kid, but it worked pretty dang good. And it taught me a lot of throttle control, obviously, in the woods and everything like that. But I would also put a track tire on it and take it out to the local flat track racetrack and race it a little bit. And all of a sudden, there was somebody that came up to me, Tracy Collins of Bob Westfall. They had a little dirt track team at home, and they said, "Hey, you want to ride this champion frame 250 Honda?" It was actually a flat track bike. And I'm like, "Yeah, what the heck?" I wasn't there to climb up any ladder or anything, but I just thought it looked like a fun challenge. And I got on that bike for a few races, and I realized, like, wow, this thing actually handles kind of like you want it to, compared to my 500. So next thing I know, we get like a 500 Honda, Tracy and Bob did, and then we start chasing some points in regionals and amateur racing, and just kind of kept climbing up the ladder, still having fun riding a dirt bike. I still didn't have any goals of becoming a champion in whatever discipline. I was just happy to be riding the bike. And a lot of these races back then, you know, I was going after trophies. There wasn't a paycheck at the end of it. And all of a sudden we started getting up in a little higher level in flat track racing. And I realized like one little bit of money here, $50 here, $200 there. And I'm like, wow, holy moly, this is, I might be able to, you know, pay some bills with this. And still wasn't really thinking too far down the road, I guess. And next thing I know, another sponsor comes on, and then, you know, I got the next step better of bikes. Like Denny Lopp and Doug Donnelly, they gave me a Harley Davidson XR 750, a Rotax 600 that were just top level bikes at the time. And I was a privateer kid, still doing it with one or two of us in a van and some buddies going to a race. And we made some big, you know, big impressions on some people. We went to a few, we'd go to Daytona, Peoria, just a few races that kind of suited my style, I thought, you know, on West Coast, or Daytona, obviously the opposite end of the country for us, which was quite a trek. And we really turned some heads and had some great results. And just kept, you know, all of a sudden I was still more like trying to figure out, is this a career or not, or is this a hobby? And I quickly started to see that this is my career. I want to do this for a living, you know. And I would always say I'm a late bloomer for sure in the racing world. I mean, I think I got my first pro license when I was 26 years old, where a lot of the kids I race against, or the guys I race against, or the girls, I mean, they went through the amateur national ranks and they were pros at 16 is what you could pretty much do, you know. So I was definitely a late bloomer in that aspect, but at the same time, I knew I learned how to ride a motorcycle, you know, not necessarily race it, but I knew how to ride a motorcycle, whatever conditions were. So once I started racing a little bit more with Denny and Doug on the XR and the Harley and the Rotax, I realized, hey, I live up in Micah, Washington. I got to figure out how to come back here and hang out for these races and not have to drive home. It was obviously not possible. So had some great friends along the way that just made it possible. I mean, if I wasn't in Washington, I was either living in Peoria, Illinois, or Columbia, Missouri, or Toledo, Ohio. Three great groups that I hung out with there. Peoria, my good buddy Chad that's here, man, he gave me a house and a roof over my head, you know, whenever I needed it. Toledo, Ohio was Dee's Leathers. Dee and Larry Johnson, their son-in-law Randy Gross was a Grand National champion. So they had been through the flat track ranks, and they gave me a roof over my head anytime I needed it up in that area. And just, it made it a lot easier for me to try to, go on the road and make a shot at trying to make this a career. Same time, I had a bike shop that I worked for in Spokane, Washington, Plunkett's Motorcycle Tire. And they were great. I always had a job when I came back. I mean, they would, if I need to leave for 3 weeks, they'd let me leave for 3 weeks. If I had to leave for 2 months, I always had a job when I came back. And I would say that was one of the breaking points of like, hey, I can either do this or not, because I always knew I had a paycheck I could come earn when I came home, you know, like instantly. So they just gave me that opportunity to do that, and I really thank them for that. Going off my notes here on my phone. So after that, I did that with Denny and Doug for a couple of years, and I was doing a West Coast swing at the end of the year in Pomona and Del Mar. And I was driving home from Pomona because I think hunting season opened up like 2 days later, and I was beating it in the box van to try to get home by myself, and we didn't have cell phones back then. And I had been hitting up a couple sponsors that summer, and I'd only done like 5 or 6 nationals that year. And I had left some messages for people and talked to some people throughout the summer and just trying to get a ride, you know, that next step up for next year. And when I got home, there was a voicemail on my landline phone at home and said, hey, this is Mike Shattuck, Harley Davidson, Sacramento, and which was a pretty big team that he had back then, and on XR 750s. And he's like, hey, if you want to ride for the team. And Kenny Tolbert is a mechanic, which Kenny Tolbert was like, him and Bill Werner were the top dogs out there. And I was like, shit, yeah. I mean, I couldn't call him quick enough. I think I skipped hunting that day, but called him and like, yeah, sign me up, man. So Yeah, we in '96 was my first full year out there under Kenny Tolbert's wing and Mike Shattuck, and man, I learned a lot. '96, '97. I mean, Kenny had just been through 4 or 5 championships with Chris Carr, so he had the knowledge and the expertise to do it. I was still a dirt bike rider from Washington that was trying to figure out how to. I knew how to ride the bike. I didn't know how to race it. I would say I felt like I was almost winging it every time I lined up, and I'd line up beside Chris Carr or Scotty Parker, and these guys like they had a plan, and the team had a plan, and I was just this guy trying to figure out how to get that plan, But we started chipping away. I think that first year in '96, my first full season, I think we ended up 6th overall in the points, which was a really good run for me, and had 3 or 4 podiums, which were my very first podiums ever at the national level. And '97, we kind of did the same thing. At the end of '97, I found a new sponsor with Harley-Davidson, Missouri, Dave Burke's Motorsports, to compete on the whole series. And that was Daryl and Jeannie Jones, Dave Burke's, a whole gaggle of people out of Columbia, Missouri area. And they quickly became family to me. I mean, it was just, I'm trying to make it through without crying. But these people, yeah, they were family, and they gave me some great equipment and just, a family feel. My wife and I, well, we weren't married at the time. Got to catch up here. Sorry. All right. My girlfriend and I they kind of became parents to us. He was a girlfriend at the time then. And they became kind of parents and brother or sister to us, honestly. I mean, they just, lots of business things. They were like mentors to us for racing and life, and, gave us a roof over our head. And I think that was 97 or 98. So 98, 99, 2000, we had a great year going, still riding for the same people. And just in the middle of the season, I was like, all of a sudden, kind of in the middle of the points, and I was just like, holy smokes, I think I got a shot at winning the championship. I just wasn't that confident kid, I guess. Like some of my competitors, just like, they're just confident. You'd beat them 10 weekends in a row, and they still said they were going to kick your butt. And I was like, geez, I just beat you 10 times, dude. But I just wasn't that particular kid, and so it took a while to get my confidence going. And next thing I know, by the end of 2000, we got the plate. And that was, it wasn't, like I said, I wasn't ever trying to be a Scotty Parker or a Chris Carr or Bubba Schobert or any of these champions. I knew I liked to ride a bike. And yeah. All right. Anyway, we won the championship, and for the next few years after that, we went after it again and again, and I kept getting seconds and thirds. And if it weren't for, I don't know, like I told Chris Carr, we had this little, during the COVID thing, we had this bonfire little party thing, and I remember Scotty Parker asking Chris, like, how many times did you get second? Well, I told Scotty to ask Chris that. Well, the problem was that I got second to Chris like umpteen times myself. So Chris might have got second to Scotty, but I was hoping he wasn't going to backfire the question on me. Sure enough, as soon as Scotty asked him that, Chris asked me how many times I got second. Yeah, I got second to Chris like 5 or 6 times in the points. So that was a little frustrating in life, but I got the one championship out of it. I got a bunch of seconds and podiums throughout the years. A few years later, I teamed up with a good friend of mine up in the Northwest, George latest Harley-Davidson, and we put together a great team. My cousin Rob came on as my mechanic, and not supposed to cuss, but anyway, my cousin Rob, he is my family. I mean, shit, him and I'd line up on the. What's that? What'd I do? But people are pointing at me. But anyway, my cousin Rob, I mean, I was pretty confident that guy would be up by my side, you know. And between him and Carl Patrick tuning my engines, man, we had some great races. And we'd go win a Grand National somewhere in Maryland, and Rob and I would get in the van 10 minutes after the race and drive to wherever it is, Ohio or whatever, to our home, to our apartment or whatever, and you know, have a beer on the road. Like, shit, yeah, 2 kids from Micah just kicked their butt, you know. Pretty cool. Thanks, Rob. But I had some great tuners. Rob, one of them, Carl Patrick, Dennis Town, Denny Lopp, Doug Donnelly, LZ, Larry Zumbrum, along with a lot of great manufacturers that supported me. Harley-Davidson, KTM, Ducati, Suzuki, Indian. Got to be the first one to ever race the Indian and help develop that, so that was a real big honor. And I just want to thank everybody. Probably the biggest one that's really coming, my wife. Yeah, back up a little bit. In 2000, before I won the championship, I won the I got married in January 2000. We did, Dee Dee and I. She gave me 2 great kids. Thank you. Anyway, I think I got through everybody. Should have seen me in here this morning. I was crying with nobody in here. But anyway, thank you, honey. Thank you, Cody, Carly, my friends, everybody out here. There's a whole bunch of people here from the Northwest, all over the country. Thank you.
Hold on. You want one? Just take one. No, you're good. He's good. Here, I'll hide those. Nobody needs to.
I made a little
Thank you.
little better than this morning.
Oh,
No,
man.
you're
Thank you.
great.
Thank you
Great.
from all of us. Thank you for sharing so much of that with us.
Thank you.
It's
Yep.
beautiful, man. You were one of a handful of riders to ever compete the prestigious Dirt Track Grand Slam, and that includes winning a race in each of the 4 dirt track disciplines.
And Joe, you mentioned you're probably most proud of this feat than most of your other racing accomplishments. So I was wondering if you could tell us why.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the Grand Slam was something, you know, I shot after, you know, it was a goal, I'd say, when I started racing. And the reason is, like I said, I come up through dirt bike racing, and I raced asphalt, I raced supermoto, I raced road race, dirt track, moto, enduro, whatever it was. I was brought up that way, and I really enjoyed every form of racing. And the reason I enjoyed it is because I liked to succeed in each form of racing, you know. And that was a huge challenge to go out there and, you know, you go out there and try to do a off-road race with a Rodney Smith or somebody that was out of your league, but I'm still going to throw some swings at him and see what happens, you know. And so when the Grand Slam for dirt track was available, you know, something that I was trying to reach for, it was hard to get. It took me a while to get that short track, that last step of the Grand Slam, you know. But to me, it was a huge accomplishment because it proved to me like I was an all-around guy in that discipline, in dirt track. And it might not have done much for my off-road riding or this or that, but in the flat track world, that's what I wanted as a person, was to be I mean, I wanted to be a champion too, but I more cared about being a better rider and controlling a bike, and that meant, you know, succeeding in all the disciplines.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was very proud of the Grand Slam.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
guys.
And congratulations on your induction.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Kopp.
Here, I'll take it.
Congratulations, Joe. With that, can you give that to thank you? Chris Carter is the founder and president of Motion Pro Inc., a company on the leading edge of specialty tool design with 30-some patents to its credit.
Over the years, Chris Carter has also served as an ambassador for the sport and the industry, with Motion Pro holding more than 100 annual sponsorships of racers, teams, organizations, and events.
Chris Carter and Motion Pro also support many charitable and nonprofit organizations, including motorcycle trail preservation and ensuring that access is available to all.
Carter is also a motorcycle historian and a published author, and earned an International Six-Day Trials gold medal for the U.S. in Austria in 1976.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chris Carter.
Presenting the Hall of Fame ring to Chris tonight is Hall of Famer Scott Harden.
Well, this is a special moment. Chris, on behalf of an entire generation of motorcyclists, riders, racers, club members, the power sports industry, your beloved staff at Motion Pro, your friends and family, all the lives who you so deeply impacted, it's my great honor to induct you into the AMA Hall of Fame. Many of us in this room knew that this moment would be here someday, and all I can say is, welcome to the club, my friend.
You want that?
Thank you.
Oh.
Got one like yours. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Scott.
Come over here, Chris. Take that. You can use that mic.
You got it.
Welcome, and thank you very much. You know, this is a dream that I never dreamed of this ever happening. And I really have to recognize the legends that shaped this or propelled this motorcycle sport and industry to this honor for me tonight. I'll do my best in the next 5 minutes to express my deepest gratitude. Really, first, I want to thank the Hall of Fame Committee and the AMA Life members for their incredible recognition. It wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't, it's quite an honor, and it wouldn't have been possible with all the individuals behind me over the years on this journey, colleagues, mentors, and friends. My journey in motorcycle, my parents weren't into motorcycles. My journey started about age 14 on a pretty big bike that I bought with paper out money, a Honda 305 Scrambler. And I bought the bike from a good friend of mine's father, who never rode it, and or very little. In fact, they had a nice little quarter-mile track in their backyard. By the time I finally paid for the bike, I'd ridden it 462 miles in their backyard, just before I even took possession of the thing. And you know, the bike was a pretty big bike. Well, this ring feels good. It taught me a lot of lessons, balance and perseverance, you know, primarily because I couldn't pick the thing up when it fell over. But that bike led me to a real dirt bike, a 1965 Greaves 250. Now, they don't make Greaves anymore, but it was, at the time, it was a great off-road bike. And as I kept developing my riding skills, I started working at a motorcycle shop in our area. And it just happened, for me, I was very fortunate. That shop was really involved in racing and so on. And I learned early on that the motorcycle industry is large, but the community is very small and with incredibly generous people, riders, tuners, industrial leaders, and it formed a real role model for me, inspired me to do my best I could to support the industry and the sport. And for me, I'd really like to acknowledge that all these people that helped me get to where I'm at today. First, Scott Harden, what a rock star. They're taking time to come up here on stage today. I really admire Scott for his many achievements as a racer and also an industry icon. I'm so proud to call him a friend. Bill Wheeler, who submitted my nomination. Now, we know Bill Wheeler as Mucho Bill. And if you're around Bill long enough, you'll figure out why his name is Mucho Bill. But he's like the brother I never had. And he's been at my side for the last 20 plus years on all kinds of adventures, Mexico, Japan, across the United States several times. Bill likes to say, we've shared more motel rooms together than we have with our wives. You know, that is pretty much true. And thank you, brother. I've enjoyed every minute of it. My wife, Karen, You know, she worked behind the scenes with Mucho Bill and contacted so many people to write letters on my behalf for this. And I had no idea this was going on. She had a dozen industry leaders, Hall of Famers, and current racers submit nominations for me in my behalf. And that was a big deal. In fact, for a year, this thing was going on, and I had no idea what was happening. And I'd visit with these guys during the year, and they all kept their mouth shut. I don't know how I was able to pull it off, but it was a total surprise to me when the ballot came out. The incredible staff at Motion Pro. When I started Motion Pro 40 plus years ago, I saw an opportunity in the aftermarket business, and I was able to build from that. And I'm just very fortunate to work with a great team of people, the folks that are with me now, and also when I started back in 1984. I couldn't have done it without them. In fact, you know, I'll go to an event, and in fact, my wife Karen has been with me some of these, and someone will come up to me and say, "Are you Chris Carter from Motion Pro?" And I say, "Yes." He said, I'm thinking to myself, "Oh boy, this would go either way, really bad, or it might turn out all right." And in most cases, it does. We end the conversation on a high note, but you just never know. And I'm just very lucky. But I think a lot of that is because of the team I've assembled with Motion Pro. I have a number of role models that been with me over the years and how I got started. The first is a local shop I talked about earlier, A&A Motors, run by Ray Abrams. And Ray was really involved in racing. And he gave me my first job at a dealership. In fact, it brought me the first time I ever went to Ascot. And Ascot in California was a hotbed of flat track. Started probably in the late 50s. And in fact, I went there in 1969 for the first time. In fact, that's where I got my first AMA card was at Ascot in 1969. You had to be an AMA member to get in. And but working at that shop, I met some great talented people over the years, and who are still my friends today. Kenny Roberts, Jimmy Odom, the Brailsford brothers. I treasure these friendships that I made. My first job at the distribution level was a company called Rocky Cycle. Gene Rocky gave me a job there, and that got me started on the distribution business. Another fellow that I really feel had a big impact on me is Tom Heiniger, the founder of Webco. Now, Webco's long gone, but at the end of the day, it was a premier aftermarket company. And another is Tom White from White Brothers. He was such an inspiration and just a great guy to be around. A good friend of Scott Harden's is Casey, and mine, Casey Folks. He's a world promoter and racer. And also John Penton from Penton Imports. I mean, every time I spent time with John, it was just amazing what his personality, and just he had a can-do attitude. No matter what it was, John could get it done. And of course, folks of my generation refer to the film On Any Sunday as their spirit of inspiration. And watch that movie. You know, I didn't think a few years later I'd be riding the 6 days with my hero, Malcolm Smith. I had no idea that. I think I watched that movie 10 times when the first week it came out. We'd sneak in the theater and stay for every screening. And it was just something that, you know, here I'm riding the 6 days with Malcolm Smith, and that turned into a lifetime friendship. I've done adventures with him in Baja and other industry rides throughout the years. And I can't say enough about Malcolm and also his family, just be able to spend all this time with them. You know, there's so many more people in the industry that helped me get on this journey. And it's hard to explain it, but I'm just very fortunate to ride a motorcycle. And that's how we all got here. Let's face it, it's from motorcycles. And so I'm just very pleased to be here tonight. To me, it's just quite an achievement, but I couldn't have done it without everyone's help. I'd like to close by extending my deepest appreciation to the AMA, the current Hall of Famers, and all the other legends I'm standing with here tonight. Thank you very much. I know I went over my time. They give you a few minutes here. Can I just, you know, after Billy played his guitar, I mentioned earlier Casey Folks. Casey Folks was such a patriot and he just admired anyone who was in service and anyone who wore a uniform. I have to tell you this funny story. Casey would do whatever he could when he had the opportunity to thank someone who was a civil servant or in the military. And one morning he's having breakfast in a restaurant, and he sees these two policemen sitting over there. And so, of course, he buys their breakfast. They don't know it. And as they get up, they look around, and the waitress points out Casey's over there, and he bought their breakfast. The two guys walk over to him. They said, well, thank you very much for buying my breakfast. He said, well, I do anything for someone in uniform. Well, you know, it's Halloween. We're just dressed up for Halloween. I had to get that in. Thank you all very much.
Hey, Chris, before you go. Yeah, trying to run away.
We just want to say thank you so much for a wonderful story, a wonderful, heartfelt telling of your life, Chris. Your good friend and mine, Kerry Simpson, said to me, he said, Chris Carter proves that nice guys can finish first.
And Chris, yeah, that's a good one, right? So, Chris, to Perry's point, you told us that one of the most important things to you and your company is giving back to the motorcycling community. Tell us why that's such a driving force in your life.
Well, I think it's just the way I brought up. Just try to show your appreciation. And also, I love the sport so much, I want it to continue and do whatever I can to have it continue. And for other people to experience all the things I have. And these lifetime friendships you build because of two wheels. I mean, like I said earlier, we wouldn't be here in this room if it wasn't for two wheels. And so, and I've donated a lot of time to different things, keeping motorcycle trails open. My latest thing for the last 3 years, or 2.5 years, I'm on the board of directors of Back on Track. We help injured flat trackers, and this last year we opened up the Moto America racers. And it's really, I mean, we take a lot of chances out there. And for professional racers, if we can keep them going or help them out if they have an issue, that's what we love to do. And that's been a great experience for me to spend time doing that. And it's very rewarding. So thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Keep that. And I just want to say thank you for all that you do for the sport and for everybody in it. And congratulations on your induction.
Thank you, Perry, for everything you
Ladies
do.
and gentlemen, Chris Carter. Congratulations. So happy for you.
Colin Edwards, also known as the Texas Tornado, is an American road racing icon celebrated for his technical prowess and versatility.
After dominating the club and wearer ranks, he turned pro in 1992 and captured that year's AMA 250cc Grand Prix Championship. He went on to win the 2000 and 2002 World Superbike titles for Honda, notching a total of 31 victories in that ultra-competitive series.
Edwards also triumphed 3 times at the Suzuka 8-hour endurance race and garnered 12 podium finishes in MotoGP.
Retiring from racing in 2014, he now runs the Texas Tornado Boot Camp. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Colin Edwards.
Presenting the Hall of Fame ring to Colin tonight is Hall of Famer Jimmy Felice.
I'm going to go off script a little bit, Colin, and talk a little bit about.
Come on, let's go.
When I first seen you come to the races, you know, I was 33, he was 18, and he was gun ho. I was class champion, the 250 GP class in AMA, and Colin, he come to Daytona, and he whipped our butt. And,
well, wait a minute though.
Well,
you were in a Honda.
Yes, I was.
You were in a Honda at that moment, and it was kind of a shit bike.
Yeah.
At the time.
Well, Honda charged me double price.
It was a little slow at the time. But no, it was, I just remember going that season, I was like, oh my God, Jimmy Felice and like Kenny Roberts Jr. and like all that and Rich Oliver and everybody was there. Was like, we'll see how it works. But we all were scared that you might have picked the perfect package to kick all our ass. Yeah. And it didn't work.
No, it didn't. But we did do all right at the next race at Laguna.
Yep, that's right.
We had a great race.
Yep.
Great battle. And, you know, seeing this young man at 18 years old, and he showed all the signs of a champion. he was a gracious loser, and he won 5 events. I won 2, so he beat me fair and square. But he was a great guy and a young, respectable man, raised really well. And I remember him and his dad coming to the races, and it's really cool to see his journey and what it takes to be that and to go through all of that and the sacrifice and his family. And
Thank
gosh,
you.
man,
Yes.
it's
Yeah, thank
a
you.
journey that I didn't ever want to do because of that. And got so much.
It was a
respect.
road.
Yeah,
It was a
much-
road to get there.
So much respect.
Thank
And-
you.
And
I've always loved you. I mean, literally from the first moment I met you, I'm like, "It's Jimmy Felice, 1988. He just stomped everybody's ass out of nowhere at Laguna." I'm like, I've always loved you. Always.
Nobody's repeated that in 38 years, Colin. Pretty good. But yeah, this man was such a great champion at a young age, and he showed all the signs of becoming who he is. And he's what he does in his boot camp and mentors younger riders and gives back. And that's what it's all about. We
sir.
have to do this. And
Yes, sir.
and it's I feel so honored to do this and for you to allow me to
You give
come
me
up
the
here,
ring?
brother. Yeah,
Right now?
okay, you ready?
You gonna give it to me?
Ready? It's
Come on.
my honor to induct you, Colin, into the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame.
Oh, can I have one arm?
Want me to hold that?
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Got it?
Oh, y'all got it right. Yeah.
Can you read?
Ah. Oh, wait. Y'all want to see it? Y'all have seen a few tonight. Boom!
Yeah.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Here,
Colin,
you want me to hold that mic while you talk?
All right. Oh shit. Well, Joe Kopp already said shit. I can say that. There are so many stories. I mean, oh god, there's so many stories that led to this point right here. If you want all the stories, come to boot camp. We have tons of them. Joe P and Mike, they'll tell you all about the stories. Pretty much everyone I love and respect and care for right now are actually in this room right over there. Y'all make some noise. Y'all make some noise. First person I have to thank is my dad. I mean, seriously, if y'all have not met my dad or never met my dad was, your dad can be like the best dad on the planet. Your dad can be an asshole, or your dad actually can give you everything and still be an asshole. I had the fourth type of dad, the different one that was just worked his ass off to make sure I had a bike running that the next day, pretty much every day of my entire life. I started in motocross, full factory Yamaha. I was right behind Damon Bradshaw. I was the next guy in line. And then I got to a point where it was like, I'm tired. I'm 80 pounds and this doesn't work for me. I'm not here to tell a lot of stories. I'm here to thank the people that basically got me here. My dad, the only story I can really portray to you. I have so many memories with him, but he's not here now. He passed in 17. But the story I can kind of, and my son, he knows the story. I would go out into the garage. I go in the garage pretty much every night to like give him a hug. I'm going to bed, and he's out there building a motorcycle, just making sure the shit's right. And I just had this image of my dad, little Black & Decker thing with my 50 up, and I'm probably 7 or 8 at this time. And he's got sweat literally dripping off his nose like a faucet. And he's got wrenches in his hand. And he's just working on bikes and just sweat pouring off of his nose. And that man is the man that molded me, pretty much. He is the guy that's why I am who I am. And he was a bad dude. Can I get a round of applause? He was a bad dude. The next one is I took this girl out for her 17th birthday. We were high school sweethearts. Shit, I can't read this. She traveled basically all over the world with me. We only did AMA, I don't know, 3 years, and then we were off over the pond, all over the world. We have done the craziest shit in the world. We've traveled everywhere. She is my rock. I cannot live without this woman, Allie. On top of that, her parents are my in-laws. I've said this, I don't know how many numerous times. I'd rather hang out with my in-laws and drink a beer than most of my friends. It's the truth. Nana and Pops, I love y'all. And Nana kind of does most of Texas Tornado Boot Camp, and she does all that stuff. Pops gives me hay and tells me what kind of cool old cars to buy and shit. Wait, I'm lost here. Wait a minute. And I was going to say this to the end, but I have to do it right now. My kids, y'all have... All right, I just need to raise a hands. All you motorcycle dudes out here, whoever told you that when you have kids, you're going to lose half a second? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Right? 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 I did. It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying stage 2 or 3 or whatever you want to do with that in life. My kids never, like, I don't know, they never guilted me and, oh, you're leaving again or you got to go. And because I was racing while they were growing up. But I have to tell you, from the moment I retired to right now, have been the best 10 or 11 years of my life. I just love hanging out with y'all and doing y'all's thing. No, where I'm going with this is I live my life for my kids now. I mean, my shit of being whoever I was is done, but I'm more happy doing my kids stuff. Oh, I got one. Mike Myers, Joe Persiano, y'all are right over there. These fools are kind of life advisors, which my wife would say, don't get any life advice from them. But they are my best friends kind of in the whole world. And thank you in 1991 for letting me blow on your coattails in, what was it? Road America, Loudon, Charlotte. Oh, I didn't bring a sleeping bag. We had 2 sleeping bags and we're sleeping in Mike's mom's Suburban. Which, yeah, figure that out. But thank y'all. Y'all have kind of, in a weird way, guided me, but I know better. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Oh yeah. Doc Henry, thank you for putting me back together. Thank you for putting my son back together. Thank you for actually pretty much everybody in this room. Thank you for putting us back together over here. TTBC crew, make some noise. Boot camp, make some noise. So I had called, I was still racing. I mean, this was like I don't want to tell stories, but I have to tell the story. So it's like 08, 9, and I called Bob Starr at Yamaha, and I'm like, talking about what I'm going to do after retirement. And Bob pretty much says, if you want to do it, like, do it now. Like, don't wait till you retire. So I was like, yeah, that's a good point. So, and I'm telling you, there's so many stories. I can't keep up. But the story is dirt track. All we could do, we can't go to a road race track. We can't practice. We can't do anything road race to like keep up to date. So we had to like dirt track and just figure out throttle control and all that. I learned from Kenny Roberts, going to Kenny's ranch and doing all that stuff. So we built boot camp. Mike Myers, thank you, because you're crazy as shit. But you talked me into it, spending shit tons of money to build a thing. But we've had so much fun in the last, 14 years? Is it 14 years it's been open? So thank you. Appreciate it. And Yamaha. I mean, this won't be long. I'm going to be done here in a minute. But if I have to thank a manufacturer, I know I won my world championships with a different one. Kind of still felt like a ghost, even though I rode for them. But Yamaha were amazing. I was factory Yamaha motocross kid, like I said, right behind David Bradshaw. But for the rest of my life, that just kept continuing on as a family, and I always loved, like, there was always a closeness, and especially Bob Starr. I don't know if y'all know, but who knows Bob Starr? Raise your hand. Does everybody knows Bob Starr? Yes, come on. He's a bad dude. But I always had this little bit of a connection with Yamaha, and Bob Starr made it happen, and we made these little videos and all this viral little shit. But it always worked out. AMA, thank you for having me. No, it's kind of a dick to get here. I expected a couple extra things. But thank you for having us, and thank you for putting this on. And for Ryan, Dana, Joe, Chris, and Chad, y'all are all badasses. And I am just honored to be in all y'all's company and be inducted with y'all. It's awesome.
Thank you for not leaving.
Thank you, Colin, so much for letting us see the love you feel for all those people.
Yeah, absolutely. And Colin, there's one more question that stands out in our mind. How did you end up with the nickname, the Texas Tornado?
I turned 20.
What does that mean?
Well, before that, I was a teenage terror from Texas.
Oh, all right.
Then I turned 20, and I think it was Paul Carruthers at Psycho News. He was like, that shit doesn't work anymore. So we got to go Texas Tornado. I was like, oh, I don't care. I mean, whatever. I think he coined it, so that's where it came from.
All right. Well, thanks for the explanation.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, Colin Edwards. Well,
thank you.
Hold on. Let me just move that out of the camera shot. Australian-born Chad Reed left a significant mark on the AMA Supercross and pro motocross scenes for nearly 2 decades, beginning in the early 2000s.
Focusing on the U.S. scene starting in 2002, Reed began racking up wins, and by retirement, had tallied 61 AMA Supercross and Pro Motocross victories on the way to capturing the AMA 125 Supercross East.
I forgot to say, we still ask my wife it's Supercross night is family night. So we still ask my wife, who's going to win? She says, Chad Reed.
Hey, shades of Kanye West, right? If he can do it, why not Colin? So, focusing on the U.S. scene, I'll start again. Starting in 2002, Reed began racking up wins. By retirement, had tallied 61 AMA Supercross and Pro Motocross victories, on the way to capturing the AMA 125 Supercross East Championship in 2002, then clinching 2 AMA Supercross Championships in the Premier class and later a 450 Pro Motocross Championship.
In 2009, Reed was awarded AMA Athlete of the Year honors and holds the record for most AMA Supercross main event starts. That number is 265 and podium finishes 132.
In 2011, Reed was appointed a member of the Order of Australia, an honor awarded to Australians who have demonstrated exceptional achievement.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chad Reed. Thank you.
Presenting the Hall of Fame ring to Chad tonight is Motocross and Supercross Committee Chairman and AMA Hall of Famer, Brock Glover.
Well, first I want to start off with the congratulations to the previous 5 inductees. We've got national champions, we have world champions, we have ISD gold medal winners, and now for the final inductee, our 6th and final, Chad. Chad is a teenager growing up in New South Wales. Chad always had his eye on moving to America and competing in the AMA Supercross Championship. In fact, he first raced in the U.S., and I want to say a little unceremoniously, right? In 1999 in San Diego, just a single race. But how he eventually ended up here full-time may have not been the most direct route. After spending a year in Europe for the Grand Prix, Chad made a trip over to the U.S., and hopefully he'll talk a little bit about that journey later. But once arriving, his impact on the sport was immediate, quickly winning races and becoming a fan favorite with his natural style and dogged determination. And of course, his handsome good looks, Colin's wife there, and his charming Aussie accent probably didn't hurt too much with the opposite gender, especially there. So when he and his soon-to-be wife, Joe, take notes, that's how you say your girlfriend at the time, soon-to-be wife. So his soon-to-be wife, Ellie, moved to the U.S. in 2001. They never looked back. They embraced the American lifestyle on the racing scene, while Chad racked up numerous race wins and championships, while paving the way and raising the bar for future Australian racers coming to America. Together, Chad and Ellie were a formidable duo in the paddock. Later in Chad's career, they formed 22 Motorsports. Some of the 22 crew members are over there. I'm sure why don't you raise champs? Breaking the usual factory rider mold, Chad was not only a team owner, but he was actively racing. In fact, that same year, Chad came within 4 points of winning the Supercross Championship, a feat that would earn 22 Motorsports the Team of the Year recognition in Supercross Series. So congratulations for that accomplishment, Chad. So today, Chad is still as committed to ever to the sport of Supercross and Motocross and can often be found at the track with his wife, Ellie, and their children, Tate, Kaya, and Pace. Chad generously volunteers this time for events such as the SMX Next programs, mentoring future generations of racers with his wealth of knowledge. The bottom line, Supercross and Motocross globally is a much better sport because of Chad's involvement. Congratulations, Chad, on inducted into this year's class of the AMA Hall of Fame. See if it fits. It's like a glove.
Yeah. Thanks. Want me to take that?
Sure.
A night like this, you think you could leave your phone off. now we're relying on them for even our notes. I mean, pretty much that's my speech in a nutshell. Somebody who just, for me, I don't know that it's here about thanking individual people or sponsors, people, teams that I rode for. I feel like I did a good job of that in the moment. For me, it's sharing my love for motorcycle racing. Geez, I can't think of anything else in my life other than just racing dirt bikes. Obviously, an Aussie kid. I feel like I lived two different lives. Till I moved to the U.S., I moved here when I was 18, and I was a young Aussie kid, and then my adult life, I look at myself as an American. So pretty lucky to choose two good places. Kind of just an update of where my passion come from. Started out riding horses with my dad, and then my cousin had a dirt bike. For the obvious reasons, I quickly chose to sell the horse, and motorcycles have been a part of my life. It's interesting listening to other people's speeches. Some just passionate dirt bike riders, motorcycle riders, enthusiasts, and then one thing led to another. It's my belief that athletes are born, not raised, not taught. I was born to do this. I don't know. I don't know anything else. I got to live a great era growing up in Australia. My dad and my mom, who are always going to be the ones that were going to be tough to talk about tonight. I don't have the bubbly story like most people do. As a child, it was me and my dad just traveling the country like everybody. And man, you just wish, and those are the memories I have of him. They were a lot of fun. I just remember I had a couple of goals in life. One was I never wanted to have a job or work in my life. I'm 43 years old and I'm going strong. I don't consider racing a job. It was everything but. He would come home with nasty old hands. He's a concreter. And I just remember as a young kid just thinking, man, I do not want to do that. And I took the passion that he supported a lot and just rode dirt bikes. I lived in such a cool era. I think of my kid and as my chance as a dad today and driving around the country, and it's all well and good and it's fun and it's what you got to do. But my childhood was, my youngest pace is 11 years old, and I was 11 years old jumping on planes to Indonesia, New Zealand. When you lived in Australia, you were a very large country, but that was all you had. Everything else, you had to get a passport and rock on and jump on a long plane flight. I was really lucky with my cousin growing up. He was 5 years older than me, and he was paving the way. I kind of tried to follow in his footsteps along the way, and with that, I got to experience everything that when I think of my career, you don't think about it at the time, but, at 43 years old, the things I was exposed to and the things I got to see at a young age groomed me every step of the way. Going to Indonesia, again, I really, not that Ellie would let it happen, but I can't imagine letting my 11-year-old, giving him a passport and putting him on a plane to Indonesia by himself. Yeah, it was just a lot of fun doing that, and then just about that age, I was when VCRs started making their way to Australia, the magazines, and I fell in love with Jeremy McGrath. He was my idol growing up, and it's funny because the world, I think, was a bigger place back then it is today. I think our phones, everything you see, it seems like it's a much smaller place, but back then it was literally, watching VCR videos of how somebody else in another country got to do it. And for me, my goal from about 11 and 12 years old was to come to America. And as crazy as it seems, I never seen life happening any other way. Of course, there was bumps along the way. It wasn't as, straight and easy as it could have been, but I just always wanted to come to America and race. And I got to come and do it in 2000 and when was it? Not 2000. I'm going way too far. It's too early. 1998. Actually 99. I was 16 years old, and I will never forget it. I was at San Diego. Ended up being not a bad stadium for me. But I remember being on the start line at Qualcomm and the big old, TV at the end of the start straightaway. And, as they pan through, with the riders, I saw myself on the TV, and I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be the guy that wins these races like Jeremy McGrath did. Long story short, I went home, I went to work, I raced the big bikes, and I just chased the dream. Tried everything I possibly could to, get a hold of people here in America, and nobody was taking the phone calls. We were really lucky in 2000. We had an Australian Grand Prix, and I raced the 500 Grand Prix. I was about a week before my 18th birthday, which allowed me to race the event as an 18-year-old. I didn't even remember. I was somewhere around like 8th to 11th. Two other Australians at the time did well. Their phones were ringing, mine wasn't. So I kind of felt like I was missing out on the opportunity again to make the trek overseas. It's funny seeing Colin go before me. I was the biggest road racing fan growing up, still am today. My wife hates it. I'll watch Mark Marquez race and do practice on Fridays more than sit at breakfast and enjoy. But, just racing is life. And I thought that motocross was not my ticket out of Australia to go and race motorcycles and be a world champion. At the time, Mick Doohan was dominating the road race scene. And I thought that maybe my ticket out of the country was to be, I want to say a go-bert, but I never want to be like a go-bert. But, let's just, Mick is my idol as well, so we'll keep it with Mick, but just wanted to get out of the country and take on the world. I never saw Australia. I never saw my home, my friends, my cousins, listening to all the things that, like, I just always felt that they were always going to be there. My best friends in high school are still drinking at the same pub that I saw them at last year. I know where they're all at. I just wanted more. Anyway, I went to Europe, was able to, succeed and get on the podium a ton. And finally, a guy called Bob Moore come and asked me if I would race America. I said yes. And he's, like, hey, but you have to ride a 125. I don't want to ride a 125. But I'll come anyway. And it happened to be, I was riding the 250F for Yamaha Troy. I just remember coming and getting to go and do childhood dreams, riding the Yamaha track with Jeremy McGrath. And that year went well, won 6 of 7 races. And then I got to really live my dream, and I got to sign my big bike contract. From that point, I just worked hard. I really feel blessed. I think that, you get asked a lot recently, like, what does the Hall of Fame mean to you? Truthfully, I didn't know what the Hall of Fame was as a child. You could ask who Jeremy McGrath was and which race he crashed, or how many seconds he won by, and I could tell you every one of them. But I never had aspirations or desire or even knew what the Hall of Fame was in any sport. I just knew bikes. My competitors are really what make my 43-year-old self proud. I think the wins, the championships could always be more. But when you race the greatest of all time and the fastest man on the planet, shit gets hard. And though I had a lot of rough Sundays, how to figure out how to, dig yourself out of the hole or pick yourself back up from a beating, I always managed to do that. And I truly believe that those two individuals in particular make, everything that I did. It's the videos, it's the conversations that you have. And once upon a time, I thought that would be horrible conversations, but it makes me proud to be in that conversation today. So I think reflecting on leaving Australia, I was I was always questioned. It's funny you talk about the accent. Now everyone gives me shit, says my accent's gone. Not even Aussie anymore. But in some ways, it's true. I embraced America with everything I had. And along the way, you just, for me, it's the life that I always wanted to live. And everybody embraced it. The industry. Yeah. My dad, when I was leaving, I was taking my then girlfriend, now wife, it's all good. And he did not agree. He told me that if I took her, he would wipe his hands on me. He passed a couple of years, and in some ways I'm at peace with that. But God, he was an asshole. And maybe somewhere up there, never once did he say he was proud to me. Always told everybody else. But man, did I try hard to earn his respect. And he's, get his blessing. I don't know why I tried so hard, but I did. As an Aussie kid leaving, I recently texted Dazzy, who is the Lawrence brothers' father. I just kind of, text him and say, congrats, the boys crushed it this year. He wrote back. He says, thanks, mate. You created the dream. Yeah, for me, that it's a proud moment because never in my growing up would have I thought an Aussie was going to dominate, let alone two of them. So it's pretty cool. One big step in my life was 22 Motorsports. I raced for a lot of great teams. I had a lot of great people in my corner throughout all those times. But 22 was such a special moment for so many different reasons. I was at a point in life where, Ricky had retired, and I was struggling for motivation to keep going on. Not motivation for racing. It was more just, something that drove you, day in and day out, and there was a lot of things missing. I was at a point where I needed more. I needed challenging. And we started 22 Motorsports. I remember Steve Astapin's here today, and I remember him telling me it's the craziest thing I've ever thought of. But in truth be, it was the greatest thing ever. Davo was our first hire, and he went to work. I believe I was in Australia at the time on vacation. And Steve got one sponsor that was at a considerable number that I felt could pay the bills, or at least half of it. And after that, I just said, let's do it. Let's go racing. I was able to not only, contend for race wins again and be on the podium, but for me, that was my life, where I look back and, I raced races. I grew a family of 3. My wife and I ran every part of the team, and you didn't have a boss or anybody that could tell you to get the kids out. I didn't have to feel bad about having the kids under my truck. It was just a part of my life that was really fun. And everybody at Tutu, I am so blessed to have those people in my life still today. A couple individuals in the sport that are not here tonight. One, Jeff Fox. There's not many people that I can genuinely say that are just good humans, full-heartedly. Everybody has something, good and bad. Jeff was just amazing. He was one of the guys I will never forget. You could have a conversation with him, and it didn't matter what that conversation was. You knew it was going to get done. I didn't have to care about a contract. I didn't have to care about, calling Steve and saying, hey, Steve, Jeff said this. Can you follow up? I knew it was going to be done. Gabrielle from Alpine Star, my first ever sponsor at 9 years old, was Alpine Star. And still today, my kids and I are proud Alpine Star wearers and an individual that's so close to me. Steve Astafan, man, were we close. We're at times brothers. And did we fight like brothers sometimes? You always need somebody that you can trust and somebody that you can, have in your corner that's going to I can't thank you enough. We learned a lot. And I'm proud that you came tonight. Thank you. Just everybody that's here. I hate leaving people out, but everyone, Katie, my first employee, still doing our stuff, working with us. She's been working with us since 2003. Makes me really proud that you're around, and not only do you're my American mom, but you're just awesome. You and Ryan, thank you so much for always being there. Post racing, Brian, Justin, Fred, I'm so honored to have you 3 here. Post racing, you have different goals, and you 3, in different ways, bring something to my life that makes me really proud to be a dad, to be a husband, and to be a family man. And it's just it's really cool that you guys are here and part of it. Take Kaya Pace. Of all the achievements that I've ever had, you 3 are my championship, the best one. Makes me. I didn't see the Moto Dad ever happening, if I'm honest. I retired in 2020, and the world went crazy with COVID, and they decided we got rid of everything, sold the track, and moved away from Florida, and then they decided that we're going to go race dirt bikes. Would have been nice to know that a year or 2 earlier. 2028, I can't wait to be back in the paddock. The AMA Pro Motocross and AMA Supercross for me is my life. I would say that some of my best achievements, and I'm glad that you go into the Hall of Fame as an older rider, or maybe I just raced so long that the 5 years put me at 43. With that said, I rode on Tuesday. I'm feeling it a little bit today. But man, is Supercross cool. And I have a ridiculous idea that racing at 40 would be fun. You ready? Be good for your wife. I need to make the main event. Mike, we're going to put him on the spot and we'll go record. He did say I could use 22 if I come back. I'm not coming back. but I might. My wife. Mine too. Ellie Joe. You know, I think everybody has seen Ellie in the pits, and she's always been a big part of my racing. A backstory: we went to high school together. We grew up in the same neighborhood. Not really, but kinda. First time I ever seen her, I was 13 years old in the 7th grade, sitting in the library. We're not high school sweethearts. I did not, and I was not good enough at that point. But when I was 16 years old, I broke my leg. Went to a mutual friend's birthday, and the rest is history. My life with her has been the best. I chose you over my family. It's true. Can't believe that I was given that option, but shame on them. But your dad asked me. He was a footballer. He knew nothing about motocross or dirt bikes or anything in general. He said, "Who's going to take care of her?" I said, "I got it." I left Australia on a GP contract of $80,000. And at that point in my life, that was a huge contract. We went to Europe. Didn't want to go to Europe, but man, it was the funnest time of our lives. I remember sitting in our driveway in Belgium. Back then, there wasn't phones and maps and all those things. And we're like, which way do we go to the races? Didn't even know which way to go to the first GP to, now we have 3 children. And if I told her tomorrow that I was going to race Anaheim, she'd say, well, you still better start training. She would be all in. It wouldn't matter. She wouldn't ask what it would cost, what it would do. She'd just be all in. As a racer, you get to retire. You get to make that decision. She was always mad and she's calming down 5 years later, but she was like, I didn't get to choose if I wanted to retire. It was our lives. Going to the races was life. So with saying that, being in the AMA Hall of Fame is such an honor because it is my life. It is everything I do. I go to the combines, the next. Shit, I'd run Supercross if they'd let me. I'd drive the dozer at the races if they'd let me. I just love being around it. I love doing it. And anyway, I appreciate everybody that's played a role along the way. And I'll be around at the races. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your life with us.
Yeah, give them.
We really appreciate it, and congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chad, thinking about you growing up in Australia and starting your racing career there, what does this moment mean to the boy who dreamed about going to America and becoming a champion?
I mean, the naive kid would be about time. Honestly, like I didn't see everything that happening. It was what I expected. It's really painful at times to have that thought process because nothing's ever good enough. And as a kid, I just wanted to be the best, and I did everything I possibly could to be here. As a 43-year-old retired guy with 3 children that love dirt bikes, and with a current goal of 2028 going pro racing.
Hell yeah.
It makes me really proud to be able to give him everything I possibly can to do it, just like, not like me, but better than me, be better than me. Chase your dreams, your dreams.
That's it. Congratulations. Thank you.
Chad, congratulations. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Chad Reed.
Wow.
Wow.
What an incredible night, huh?
Yeah, absolutely, Perry. Hearing all these stories, the grit, the passion, the trailblazing spirit, it reminds us why we fell in love with motorcycling in the first place.
You're so right. That's exactly it. The world of motorcycling, it never stands still. It grows, it evolves, it inspires with each new generation. And tonight's Hall of Fame inductees, they embody all that. Their vision, their courage, and dedication have shaped the sport and the lifestyle that we all cherish.
We're a community that honors the legends who came before us, celebrates the riders and innovators who carry the torch today, and we look ahead to an even more exciting future. It's a family bound by passion, purpose, and that unmistakable sense of freedom that only motorcycling can bring.
The accomplishments that we've celebrated tonight don't just belong in history books. They remind us all to chase our dreams, push harder, and give back to the community that's given to us so much.
No matter where we ride, across town, across the country, or across the world, there's an unspoken bond that unites us. A simple wave, a nod, a shared understanding. We are motorcyclists, and that connection is truly something special.
So now, would the new inductees of the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame please come to the stage?
We'll begin with the class of 2025. Ryan Young,
Dana Bell,
Joe Kopp,
Chris Carter,
Colin Edwards,
Chad Reed.
and if you guys can all, we're going to take a group photo. Looking good, gang. And now let's bring all the Hall of Famers who are in attendance tonight to the stage to surround our class of 2025. Brock Glover,
Mona Enos,
Bill Werner,
Rob Razor,
Scott Harden,
Larry Coleman,
Jimmy Feliz,
Rita Coombs,
Jeff Fredette,
Ronnie Jones,
Jack Penton.
Stu Peters.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wait until you guys come on up
gotta
here.
wait?
Yeah, well, I'm going to wait.
Left here, too.
Yeah, got it.
You got it?
Looking good, Stu. All right, we are going to take a group photo of everyone. And Rita, can you come up here so we don't block? Yeah, there you go. Right there. There you go. Next to Jack. Ladies and gentlemen, the members of the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame. Now, looking good. That is a good group of folks right there.
Great shot.
Yeah, incredible.
Look at that.
You guys hang out with us for just a minute. Now, don't forget, you are all invited to the cocktail reception, which takes place immediately following this ceremony at the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame Museum, just a couple of minutes away.
On behalf of everyone at the American Motorcyclist Association and the Hall of Fame, thank you for joining us for this memorable evening. Until we meet again, I'm Perry King.
And I'm Lorette Nickel. Ride safe.